Good afternoon, students. Myself, Professor Neha Dave. Today we'll be starting with the chapter of demand estimation. But before moving it into the demand estimation, today first we'll look it after that. Into the last session we have started with the sales forecasting. So some of the slides was remaining out to cover it up. So then afterwards the chapter will be getting over, and then afterwards the thing is what we'll be moving into our current chapter, that is called a demand estimation. Now already you guys might be aware that into the last session first we have summarized what is market, what is research, what are steps of marketing research, what are different types of sources where the thing is the research it is being conducted. Even we have learned about it, the two different types of quantitative and qualitative way how the research it is being done. Then afterwards we have learned about it certain kind of what are desk research, survey report. Even we have discussed about how to do the presentation, how to frame a questionnaires. This was a different substances, and with the help of different type of substances the thing is what our research it has been conducted into the business. Now after learning all the concepts, so ultimately you might be aware with the thing that whenever we start up with any kind of business, so the research it is an important concept. If the research it has been not done properly, if it has been not been done, so ultimately the thing is what you cannot make any kind of measurements if you want to do into the future. So that is why the thing is what research makes a very important impact into our business. So you got to know the thing is, even we have discussed about one concept, that is the international way of market research. You not only learned with the help of a way of a common market research, but also you have learned with the help of globalization way how we do the market research. So after completing all the part of research, the thing is what you got to know the clear-cut idea. Now, into the last session, we have started with the sales forecasting. I hope you remember that on the last session, we have discussed what is forecasting. Forecasting means it is what a future event. You think about the future. Whatever, if you want to just think about it, whatever you want to do about it. So that is why the thing is what we do the future. We just imagine about the future event. You start up with any kind of business. So ultimately, you think about it, where I am right now, and after 2 years or 3 years, where I will be. So according to this, the thing is what you need to even measure the product, because that is also that makes a major impact. Because if the products in each and every concept it has been not clear, so you won't be able to give a specific kind of importance to the certain part of business. So that is why the thing is what you need to identify the each and every concepts. Now into the last session we have discussed about what are sales forecasting, how the forecasting it has been done. Usually it is been seems about it, the better whenever you do the forecasting, you just plan it for only for the certain time, not for the certain years. Because if you go for the certain years, because already we have learned one word, that is rarely preferred. Rarely means sometimes the thing is what it has been preferred. It is not like that at each and every time it has been preferred. So that is why the thing is what whenever the forecasting it has been done, so ultimately you need to check it out how the forecasting it has been done and for what particular time it has been done. You are only getting an idea about it, like how to start up with the business. So that is why the thing is we run with the help of this kind of sources. Now after cutting out with this thing, we have learned certain formulas. Now already we have learned what are two different type of sources, quantitative and qualitative way, where the thing is what these two methods what we use whenever you do the forecasting. Quantitative, it is what that kind of techniques where the thing is what we only use the mathematical. We doesn't use here a mathematical, we use here as a human behaviors or human thoughts, perceptions, what they require, what they don't require. So ultimately we go according to the human opinion. So that is called a qualitative. But when we are telling about the quantitative which deals with the mathematical way of solution. Mathematical means a statistical way how we perform, and according to putting certain formulas, putting certain different type of statistical items, there's some bar diagram or a graph and certain kind of equations what you update, and according to that finally we get an aggregate answer. So usually the thing is we have two different type of methods where the thing is the sales forecasting it has been been done, qualitatives and quantitatives. Now the thing is what, when we are doing a sales forecasting, so better we prefer for the quantitative way, because here the thing is what, whenever you do the forecasting, you can't even think about it that we'll think about for a 3 years, so it will be this much, we'll estimate our sales will be this much. So it is not like that. Here if you want to estimate the certain kind of sales, so you need to use certain numerical and certain statistical methods. So that is why into this type of it we have learned linear programming. Already you might be aware, on the last session we have discussed about linear programming. We have learned two different types of bars was there, and ultimately x-axis and y-axis, the two line was crossing, and finally according to this you was getting a complete elaboration relating to the linear way. Next, correlation and regression. This also we have been learned from the, how we are performing correlations when the thing is what, two variables are being correlated, they're having the two relationship with each other, and finally the thing is what, we are performing that part of it, correlation method. And from how the correlation to variables comes from the regressions comes from the correlation. So that is why these are the two different types of mixture. We have even learned about the chi-square, where the thing is what, with the help of certain putting formulas, finally we are getting an update of certain kind of forecasting of any kind of sales or any kind of business. So this was a different type of sources, and from a different type of sources, finally the thing is what, we are getting an accurate information about it, that the thing is what, how we'll do the forecast. Now into the last, this slides, from this slides it was remaining out. Okay, now already when we have learned so much of different concept of primary sources of research, secondary sources of research, we have learned about quantitative way of research, qualitative way of research, different type of internally where statistical tools and mathematical tools are being used, and after completing this thing finally we get certain kind of it answer. So that is why the thing is, and each and every time when you do the research, now in each and every time you put certain kind of elements into it, you put certain kind of experiment. So that is why that all the things comes from the hypothesis. Now here the thing is what, without this hypothesis means doing assumption, putting certain kind of experiments, then only you will be getting a certain kind of it answer relating to the particular way of whatever you are thinking about it. So that is why hypothesis is, it is an important concept. Now here first the thing is what, a statement about the value of population parameters. Now here it has been showing about it. If you want to know the statement of the population, means if certain countries, the population, if you want to calculate out, so that is why we do the hypothesis test. Now how we do this thing? Developed for the purpose of a statement. I'll just go once again. The statement about the value of population parameters developed from the purpose of testing. Now how do you, if you want to see the population, and according to population how the development it has been conducted, so that is why for this the thing is what, we are doing the hypothesis test. Example of hypothesis or a statement made about the population parameters are: the meaning monthly income from all the sources for the system analyzed is $3,000, 625 rupees. Okay, so here when you want to do, now the question is here, what is the questions? If you want to check the population, now if you are checking a population, means I want to check what is the developed, how much the thing is the country has been developed according to the population, or else the thing is what I want to check upon according to the population how the thing is it has been developed. So that is why here the thing is what, how I will be calculating out. So here I need to put certain kind of assumption. So I am having that only type of it. Better it is, I'll do the mean monthly income from all the sources for the system analysis. Now here what, how if I want to calculate the population according to the development, so here what I'll do for each and every people, yeah, their monthly salary I need to calculate about it, and then afterwards finally the thing is what, I'll be getting a certain kind of it answer. So this is what certain kind of hypothesis test. Without this the thing is the research it has been incomplete. So that is why hypothesis it is an important concept into the research part, because from this only certain assumptions, certain experiments you can conduct it to whatever the information you require. So according to that information you can analyze certain kind of concept which will be equivalent to your company and which will be equivalent to your business also. So that is why the thing is what, and then afterwards you can give the accurate answer relating to the certain particular way of thinking or certain particular way of research if you are doing about it. We'll go to the next slides. Now see. Now, here the thing is what hypothesis test, how you do the hypothesis test. Now here the procedure based on the sampling evidence and probability theory used to determine whether the hypothesis is reasonable statement and should not be rejected, or is in unreasonable and should be rejected. Now here it is what the hypothesis test, it has been done according to the evidence. Means before doing certain test we have certain kind of proof, and according to the proof you need to see about it, that how the thing is what you will be putting certain tests relating to this. Means how you will frame the questionnaires, how you will do the research. So after this, if the thing is what, if the thing is you get a proper evidence, so according to this it is not, it has been performed ahead properly. But if it has been not there, so ultimately the thing is what you do, either you do the either you go for the alternative way of testing, or either the thing is what the test it has been rejected, because if you are not getting a proper way of evidence, because hypothesis test it is based on the evidence. If you have already you have segregated certain proofs, so according to that proof finally the thing is what you can put a certain kind of assumption relating to this, and according to this assumption finally the thing is what you can give certain kind of views relating to this. But if it has been not there, either you can choose a certain alternative for this, and if the alternative is not there, finally the thing is what certain rejections will be there. So ultimately the thing is your sentences will be unreasonable or it will be rejected. Now the process of procedure of testing a hypothesis. Now if you are checking if you want to check out the hypothesis, there is a two way. First, it is a null hypothesis, and second, it is what a alternative hypothesis. Now here there are the two statements, null and the alternative. Null means it is what null hypothesis, the statement about the value of the population is parameter. Alternative hypothesis, this statement is accepted if the evidence proves null hypothesis to be false. Now here the same thing what I said to you right now. If the evidence here it is being said, and if the statement doesn't say anything, so finally the thing is I have a certain other part that is called I need to go for the alternative way of hypothesis. But if this statement is not there, so finally the thing is what, and if it has been rejected, the evidence it has been not proper, if it has been not there properly, whatever the accurate data, finally the thing is will be going to the null hypothesis test. So this it is the two different type of testing usually whenever you do the business, whenever you start up with any kind of business, and if you are planning with any kind of research. So into the research, these are the two different type of hypothesis what you do, because according to this part only assumption the thing is what you can start up with your business, and even according to this the thing is what you can forecast the sales and forecast your business also. Now I have one more. Previously we have been said first with the help of what are the first procedure it was there. Okay, the procedure was first. It is what you need to first. I have written here the point also. Set up the hypothesis. Now here it is what first, the setup of an hypothesis. Setup means in the sense either from this two you need to select first, and once the thing is what you got the meaning of this, finally I'll be going the second, because when you do the hypothesis test, so first you need to set with this. Now we'll be going to the next point, that is what a different. Now you can see the second point, select the appropriated test statistics and level of significance. Means here it is what the selection of appropriated test statistics. What are the statistical methods you will be using this thing, and according to this the thing is what which level the thing is the importance will be given to according to that part of requirement. When the test of hypothesis of an appropriation, we use the Z statistic or a Z test and its formula. Now here the thing is what we have this type of hypothesis. Now first point it is what whenever you do the hypothesis, first you need to set with the help of which procedures you prefer. Once you are complete with the help of this, second part will go which type of test statisticals you will be preferring. So ultimately it will be Z test you can say, or as you can say a Z statistics, whichever the method, because according to this we have a formula, and according to this the thing is what a proportionate formula what we use, and according to that kind of base finally the thing is what you get in third step way of procedure. Third it is what the state the decision rules. The decision rule states the condition under which the null hypothesis will be accepted or rejected. The critical value for the test statistic is determined by the level of significance. Now into this, if the thing is if you are using an alternative then it's okay, but if you are using a null hypothesis, so either it can be accepted or either it can be rejected. If this kind of proportion will be there, so according to that part of the requirements you can put certain kind of statistical tools relating to this thing, and finally the thing is what you will be getting a appropriated answer. So first word, setting of certain kind of which type of hypothesis you require. Second, it is what appropriated test statistics which you require Z test. Next, statement of the decision, whether here you need to have put a decision. Either if it is going to the alternate, if you're taking an alternative, then it's okay. But if you are taking a null hypothesis test, and finally the thing is what, after doing this type of testing, it can either you can get a solution, so it will be acceptable. But if you don't get a solution, ultimately from this type of test, finally it can be rejected. And according to that part of proportion, the thing is the critical value of the test statistic is determined by the level of significance. Now here the thing is the level of whatever the answer you get. So according to that part of only importance, finally the thing is what, you will be getting an appropriated information relating to this. Okay, I have two more. Computes the appropriated test statistics and make the decision. Now, according to whatever the things, whatever the procedures you have been said, so according to that part of it, you need to compute, means you need to check according to whatever the requirements you require, and according to once you got, finally you are having certain kind of decisions, so you need to go to the fourth step of your testing. And last but not least, it is what, interpret the decision. Now, how you interpret the decision from the fourth step, the thing is what, finally you're getting an answer, and according to that answer, finally the thing is what, you're interpreting the decision, means you're analyzing a certain kind of answer, and finally according to that answer, you're giving out your views. Now here, based on the decision, in the step 4, we state a conclusion in the content of the original problems. Now here, at the end of it, finally, whatever the original problems, what you have seen about it on the previously, because why you are doing, if you have seen certain kind of problems, so according to that only the thing is what, you are starting with the help of this type of test. So whatever the problems what you are facing, so finally what is the answer rating, what are the solution you can give, what are the conclusions you can give afterwards. So this part of it, each and everything, this thing is the step and the procedure it has been conducted. Now, so here the thing is what, we have completed with the help of this some 4 slides was remaining out about the hypothesis. So because for this the thing is our sales forecasting chapter has been completed. Now after completing all the substances, we got to know the clear-cut idea about now what are sales forecasting, what are the steps, what are the requirements, why it has been done, what are decision making process, certain kind of linear equation we have been learned, certain chi-square we have been learned about it, correlation, regression we have been learned, certain statistical tools we have been learned, line bar diagram, histogram, pie diagram. We have discussed so much of different concepts, and after doing this, finally the thing is what, we have even learned about the hypothesis, which is a major impact into whenever you're doing a forecasting. So after completing all the substances, we got a clear-cut idea about it, that how the thing is what, when you do the forecasting, so this makes a major impact relating to whenever you do the forecast, because according to this part only requirement, finally the thing is you can start up with your business. Now we have completed with the end of this chapter. Now I'll go just move ahead with the next chapter, that is called the demand estimation, what we have discussed. So according to that part of it, we'll be moving ahead. Now first we'll be going with the summary. I'll just start up with the slides. Now here, the chapter what I'll be starting right now, that is called a demand estimation and forecasting. Now already we have learned so much of different concepts, how to prepare a presentation, how to prepare a report, how to prepare a bibliograph, how to make a research report, and after doing a research report, finally we do so much of different type of testing, we do the research, we produce certain kind of methodological way, means certain technical way, even we have discussed about certain statistical, mathematical way, certain kind of bar diagram, pie diagram, each and every concept what we have discussed right now. till now. Now our last chapter says about demand estimation and forecasting. Now the thing is what, once you do the forecasting, okay, now here the thing is before forecasting, this is the first step. So because from this only estimation finally you can forecast. So currently what we have been learned that about the sales forecasting. But before that sales forecasting, how you forecast? Because the thing is, if you till the time you are not having a certain demand into whatever you have estimated, means what you have been taught, whatever the thing is sales it has been conducted. So according to how the requirement it has been there, what are the people are preferring according to that way, and according to that kind of preference you are making an estimation, and according to the estimation finally the thing is what you forecast. Means how you get those numerical, those statistical way, mathematical way of information before the thing is you the demand for estimation. Till the time you do the demand estimation, finally the thing is you can forecast yourself. We'll just go ahead with the next slide, because according to that part of it you will be getting. But before moving it, we'll just summarize the certain concept what we'll be discussing right now. Now into this, first you'll be saying about it, what is demand estimation, what are needs, what are steps, what are decision makings, what are the different type of concept relating to this thing, and how it has been connected with the help of forecasting. Some slides you will be even seeing about the forecasting, how the thing is what both the words are being clubbed together, and finally the thing is that kind of forecasting it has been done. So that also you will be getting out. Finally, at the end of it, you will be getting certain examples also we have been discussed about it, and then afterwards we have a certain kind of equations we will be seeing, certain kind of simple equations will be seeing, certain formulas are being kept here. So according to that part of it, you will be seeing about it how the estimation it has been done. And from this estimation, finally the thing is the forecasting it has been conducted. Now we'll just go into the slide, because after moving into the slides, we'll be getting a clear-cut attachment relating to the what concept we have been learned till now. Now, here the thing is what we'll be seeing about the demand estimation. What do you mean by demand estimation? It is the process that involves coming up with an estimation of an amount of the demand for the product or a service. It is confined to a particular period of time. Now here, what do you mean by demand estimation? You can see the line. It is a process. Now this is one type of process that involves coming up with an estimation of an amount. Now here, estimation of an amount of a demand for a product and or a services. Now here, whatever the product will be there, whatever the service will be there. So according to this, what the amount you are putting, how the amount you will be keeping out, how you will calculate that amount. So this is one type of estimation way. It is one type of process where the thing is what you are coming up with the certain kind of amount, and from this amount finally the thing is what you can start up with a certain part of it estimation according to this way. It is confined to the particular period of time. Now here it is what the demand estimation, the process, the meaning what we are learning, it will be for the certain particular period of time only you will be getting. Like to this you will be getting this much of estimation. After this to this here, finally again estimation I will be getting out. So this will be a particular time and particular period here. The thing is what you will be getting an accurate way of information relating to the amount. And according to the amount, finally the thing is what you can estimate your business, and from this business finally you can produce certain goods or certain services related whatever you want to give it. So according to that part of requirement, how the people require, so you perform according to that way. So that is why we perform this type of demand estimation process. Now here I have given one more definition. What do you mean by demand estimation? Estimation of various demand function of a firm, industry or a market through a various process. Now here estimation it has been done of business or any kind of industries or any kind of market through you have a different type of process. For a practical purpose, demand function for a firm and a market has to be estimated from the empirical data. Now here it is what empirical means, it is what a historical way of data, like previous, past. Now here, if you want to estimate, now if you want to estimate the demand of the people, or as you want to estimate the demand, how the requirements it has been done, which kind of requirement it has been done. So here, from a historical way means your past data, from the past data collection, you can segregate all those information, and from this type of information, finally the thing is what, according to this part of a requirement, you will be getting an estimation, and from this estimation, finally you will be getting an idea about this. Like for this particular year, this much estimation was done. So now for this particular year, this much estimation will be done. So this part of an estimation, from this part of an estimation, finally the thing is the people will be getting a proper way, an aggregate way of idea. But from this idea, finally the thing is what, the business will be running more and more. So that is why here you have a various process. Second part, the thing is what, the demand of the functions, means the demand where you will be getting from the empirical way of data, from the data what you have collected previously, from that aggregate data, finally the thing is what, you will be getting a estimation according to whatever the requirements you require. Now, here. Methods. Now here I have three different types of methods. From this three different types of methods, I can estimate the demand. Okay. First, it is what, market experiment. Second, survey of a consumer intention. Third, regression analysis. Now I have a three different way where the thing is what I can do. I can get the demand estimation. Now here it is what, first, market experimental, means I'll need to see your actual. Now here you can see each and every, it has been connected here. Now from this connection, finally you will be getting an idea here. Now your market experiments, which has been dealing with the actual market and market stimulation. Now here it is what is the current market that has been running, and according to the requirement, how the people require. So this two, and according to this part of both method what we are using, and from this method, finally the thing is what, you are getting an aggregate data. Next, survey of consumer intention. Now here, when you are doing an estimation, I need to do a proper way of survey relating to the how the people are be there. So here, how I'll get a survey of a consumer, your census, and second it is what, a sample. These are the two different way of sources where the thing is what, the survey of consumer, it has been done through census, and second it is what, a sample. Through population I can check the demand, how the people require, and second part, if I'm offering a certain kind of samples, so according to samples, how the people require. Once I'll complete with this thing, I have one more method that is called a regression methods. Regression methods, in this regression analyzing method, here I'll be seeing about the identifying the demand functions. First I'll be saying how the people require more, what are the people require more, why they prefer that thing more. So that type of identification I'll be doing. Next, collecting historical data. Okay, if you have a previous data, whatever it has been collected, so ultimately that cut of information what you get, and finally from this you collect those information. Next, select appropriated function. You need to see about it which function is inaccurate, because you have a different type of sources, and according to this different type of sources, finally which data it will be suited to get those information. Estimation of selected function, that is also important. What are types of estimation you do, because like you have a different type of functions, and from this different type of function, finally the thing is what, you will be getting an estimation from where you will be getting an aggregate data, and from this aggregate data, the thing is how you will estimate a certain particular words. Analyzing the estimation of demand, that is important. As you do the estimation of this, finally the thing is what, you need to analyze whatever the information you are having. So according to that part of information, you just look after with each and every concept. So now these are the three different types of methods. Okay, and from these different types of methods, you can do the demand estimation. First, market experimental, means you can go to the market and finally you can check the what are the actual market that has been there. And second part, it is what, market stimulation, how the market has been fluctuating, and according to that part of requirement, finally you can get it answer. Either you can do the survey, and survey how you will be doing, giving certain samples or calculating according to the population how they require. If this two is completed, finally you can have one more method that is called the regression methods, where you are using certain kind of technical way, and from the technical way, finally the thing is what, you are collecting your past data, and then afterwards presenting into the present data, and finally both the data you are formulating, and finally getting answer. Analyzing the estimation demand function, you are analyzing the whatever the estimation you have been done, finally you are analyzing that kind of that part of only particular person. So finally once you've completed this thing, you are analyzing, and according to that part of analyzing, you are estimating the data to this. So this is one type of method. Now here we have the demand estimation. Now the thing is what we have learned right now, the chart. Okay, now here you can see. Okay, this chart what we have learned. Now we will go into the internal detail of certain kind of words and certain kind of explanation. So at least what you will be getting an idea that what are the requirements will be there into this type of method. Now, here you can say first we went with the market experiments. Now into this market experiments, you will be seeing about two things, an actual and second it is what the simulation. Actual, it is what a shops are opened in a different locality and then consumer behavior is observed. Now if you want to see the demand estimation, okay, demand estimation, like if you want to calculate a demand estimation, that how the requirements it is been done, and if you want to see the actual demand, so what you can do, you can go to the open shop and then afterwards you can see the behavior of a consumer, and according to that part of it, finally you will be getting an answer. I have one more this. Next, reaction to the price changes can be observed from the consumer income, caste, religion, gender, taste, etc. This is also major impact because here I need to even see the reaction of the people if the price it is being changed, because the people whose income is high, so according to this, the demand will be also high. If the people income is low, the demand will be also low. And here it is not only behaving with the help of income, but even to the religion, caste, gender, taste, preference, each and everything will be, even reaction will be seen here. This is called an actual market where you want to see the demand estimation. Disadvantages: inexpensive, small scale, non-controllable variable. Now here I have one more disadvantages. Here it is what if it is expensive to the small scale and non-controllable variable. If here it is any kind of requirement, and finally the thing is what into a small scale industries, if this kind of estimation has been done, so it will be conducted as in, it won't be considered properly. So that is why that comes into your disadvantages. So this is what an actual market where you want to see an experience, and according to this part of it, you will be getting a demand estimation. I have a simulation. It provides the token money to the set of the consumer. Now here stimulation, it is what certain token money it has been given to the consumer, and according to this part of it, they'll be showing their requirement. And from this requirement, finally consumer behavior it is being seen. Reaction to the price, again here the thing is what the price changes can be observed from the pricing of various goods, packaging and quality. Here the thing is it was based on their way of standard of the living, the religion, caste, which they were belonging. But here the thing is what when it is a stimulation here, when it is being seen, so here it has been seen their goods, their packaging, their quality, how they behave, because when the consumer buy the goods, so ultimately what would be their intention when they buy the goods? So they'll be having a major impact on the goods, packaging, quality, they'll be seeing this thing. Disadvantage is a consciousness of the consumer. Here the disadvantage will be what? There will be more consciousness toward the consumer related. They will be having more attachment relating to this. So this creates a certain disadvantages relating to this. Now here, when demand estimation it has been done through the market experiments, I have a two different, that is called an actual, and second it is what is stimulation. And according to that part only requirement, finally the thing is you will be getting an accurate information, and according to this only you can estimate the demand. Okay, one more, what we have been seen about it, survey of consumer intentions. Survey also it was there. Now your survey, you have a census methods and survey, what we have been discussed right now. Census, all the consumers are being contacted. Now you can see, I have seen here, samples and census. I have two things. Now here from this, now the thing it is what here I'm estimating first with the experiments. Second, I'm doing a survey of a consumer intention, how I'm seeing a consumer, how they behave. So here if I want to see, either I can check if I want to check the demand estimation, I can either check from census, and second by the samples. Now census it is what? It is like a whole population. From whole population, the thing is what? Either I can check like that, or else I can take a sample. Samples mean in the sense, into the whole population, I'll select certain particular 4-5 people and I'll give certain product to them. So ultimately they'll be using and they'll be giving me the information this way. Now into this, each and every word, and I have given samples not to all, only for this particular people. So ultimately here I want to check the sampling demand estimation, how they behave. So this is also one type of method where you can do. So this is one type of survey. But if I'm doing a census with the whole of the people, means here I want to check a demand estimation of all the people. So what I need to say, all the consumers are in the contact. Obviously, the consumer will be there into the contact. Disadvantages will be costly, hesitate to disclose the plan because the personal commercial privacy. Here, because of the personal commercial privacy, is the thing is what you cannot disclose certain particular words. So that is why here the thing is what it will be bounded some. When I'm doing a survey method, okay, now here sampling method when I'm doing about it, now a few consumer out of the whole populations are a contact, okay, a few are in a consumer into the population are in the contact. Costly to carry the test marketing selection of a test area rivalry action. Now here into this, here I can't do test marketing, certain selection, testing area and rivalry action, because the thing is what, because all the people are here into the contact, but even the thing is what, they are even in contact with the other people also. So here the thing is what, I cannot use a certain test marketing process when I'm doing this type of experiment. So I'll be getting this type of it according to the requirement of how if you want to get certain kind of demand estimation to the certain product. So here the thing is what, census and the survey method, these are the two. Sampling method I can say, these are the two different type of methods. This also it's one type of demand estimation. I have one more what we have been seeing. Okay, I have one more that is called a regression analysis. Now regression already I said what we have been learning into the last lecture. Regression is one type of statistical way where the thing is you calculating certain putting formulas and certain applying certain formulas, certain mathematical tools, certain way of information you are aggregating, and finally the thing is what, analyzing. Regression analyzing is a statistical process for estimating the relationship among the variable. Already we have been seeing. It is from correlation the regression comes. So ultimately from these two variables, finally the thing is what, you are getting certain kind of, and you from these two variables, whenever you're calculating, you're putting certain kind of statistical process with certain kind of formulas, and according to that part of formulas which has been affected by two variables, and from this two variables, finally the thing is what, you are analyzing the cost, and according to the cost, finally you are thinking about the future, you are forecasting for the future. Now here you have a sorry, here you have a two-way where you can use a regression method analyzing simple and multiple. Now the simple regression analyzing is used when the quantity demanded is taken as a function of a single independent variable. Now multiple is used to estimation the demand as a function for two or more independent variables that are various for stimulation. Now here simple regression, what we have been seeing first only, like you have a single independent variable, and according to that part of only one type of variable, finally the thing is what, you are getting an aggregate answer. From that one kind of only variable, you are getting an aggregate answer. But when I'm going with multiples, I have two or more variables which are been interconnected with each other. So according to that part of requirement, finally the thing is what, I'm getting a proper and aggregate answer relating to the multiple way. So here, whenever you're going with the help of regression analyzing, you need to just go either with a single or either with the multiple. You have a two-way, and according to two type of requirement, whichever will be relevant and whichever will be where you are getting an aggregate informations to whatever the requirements you require. So this part of informations you can carry it out according to the estimation. Now here the steps of regression analyzing, already we have been seen here. What are the steps? Now here you can see with the help of an arrow, you can just clarify it that these are the steps, different type of steps. From this type of it, finally you can put certain kind of mathematical and statistical way of tools relating to this formulas, and finally the thing is you will be getting an answer. First it is what, specification of variables. Obviously what we have been checked the variable, either you can get a single or either you can get a multiple, whichever you want, you can get the variable. Next, data collection. After this, once you're collecting your information, once your information has been collected, demand estimation it has been done. Once demand estimation it has been done, choose of a function form according to what type of functions, if you want to take that type of particular way of estimation, what you thought, and according to that part only you want to go. Once you're completing that thing, you need to interpretation. Interpretation, it is what? Whatever you have thought, now the thing is what? You're analyzing the data, and according to the analyzation of data, finally the thing is what? You're getting out the information, and from this information finally the thing is what? You can get those information which will be relevant for your research. Now, I have some more what I said to you, demand forecasting. Now, already what we have been learned right now, that was demand estimation. But from this, after doing an estimation, finally you can even see the forecasting of a demand. Now, here see, what is demand forecasting? Now, here you can see one, I have given you a certain kind of picture. So, according to this part of it, now here you can see certain graphical way how the thing is what the bars are being shown, and according to the bar finally I have this type of arrow also, this red color arrow, and with the help of an arrow finally I'll be getting out the, according to the demand also I'll be getting, and according to this I can forecast my future also. It is a predicting future demand for the product. Obviously what I said, the forecasting, it is what your future demand, how you predict. The prediction of a probable demand for a product or a service is based on the past event and prevalent of the trend in the present. Now here, how you predicting the demand of the product, as you have a past way of event means in the sense what are the past way, if you are seeing, you are right now currently here. But if you want to calculate the information, finally what you do, if you need to check first with the help of your past, and then afterwards you need to measure your whatever the presents are been there, because according to that part only requirement, finally the thing is what you can get those information, and the trend will be calculated according to this part only. So that is why the thing is what past and present event both you are mixing together, and finally the thing is what according to this part only the demands have been forecasted, and according to that part of only demand, the thing is what finally you are getting the information which will be relevant for your business. You can think about according to the business, according to your requirement. Now here, broadly classifying the forecasting has been done with the help of two, passive forecast and active forecast. Now passive forecast, it is what prediction about the future. Prediction about the future is based on assumption that is the form does not changes the course of an action. Now your passive, it is what if they have been having certain things, certain rules and regulations, what they have been thought about for the future. So here the thing is what passive, it is what they have been thought about the future, they'll go to that only. They won't be changing anything. Active, it is what the prediction is done under the condition of likely future changes in the action by the firm. Now your active, it is what they have been thought about it for the business, that after 2 years or 3 years my business will be into this kind of position. So here the thing is what I am predicting right now. So according to that only requirement, the thing is what it will be seen into the future. So that comes into your active forecasting. So we have a two-way where the thing is the forecasting are been measured, the demand according to the passive and second it is what an active. Okay, and this two part only the thing is what it is being seen. And according to this part only requirement, for demand forecasting, it is measured according to this part of requirement. Now, why this type of, what are the purpose? Means why we do this type of demand forecasting? What are the main what are the requirements to this type of demand forecasting? Why we do? First, it is what seasonal patterns are of the primary importance. Now, first, what is the thing? Appropriated production scheduling. Because why we do this type of forecasting? Because according to this part of it, if you want to start up with any kind of production, so according to this part of production only you can schedule whatever the requirements you require. So that is why we do the forecasting. Determining appropriate price policy, that is important, because here if you perform this way, so according to this you will be, if you will be getting a price policy requirement also, you will be getting an accurate information, because according to that part only you will be going, this price will be there, so according to that price finally the thing is what you will perform that kind of information. Evolving suitable advertisement and promotion campaigning, obviously, because how demand it has been there and according to whatever you have been forecasted. So if you are doing a forecasting, so according to this you can schedule yourself. Second, you can keep appropriated price policy. Next, you can advertisement and promotion campaign, you can even do the advertisement and promotion, that makes a major impact. For forecasting short-term financial requirement, obviously with this short-term financial requirements you can start up, because how much you require for this particular region and for this particular time, you can start up with this thing where you'll be having the major impact and major way of importance relating to this, because you can start up from small if you're thinking for the future. So here only you can plan your each and everything. So why we do this type, what are the purpose of a short-term forecasting? Now here when we do the forecasting, here you can see two types where we'll be saying about it, a short-term process and second it is what, a long-term process. But here the thing is short-term, it is what you can schedule according to that way, you can make appropriated prices, you can make according to the advertisement and demand also. Next, financially way you can just make each and everything set for the short period of time. So this type of all requirements which will be get more impact, major impact to develop when set up your short-term planning. But I am starting with the help of long-term planning. Now when I'm seeing about long-term planning, you can see even the price and the quality demand, what I have given here the graph. Now here if I'm going for long term, so long term way of forecasting, if I'm seeing, I want to see the long term way of forecasting, here the thing is what I need to plan first a capital, because capital makes a major impact. Because if my capital is ready, if the way how I'm performing the money, keeping the money and performing each and everything, if I have a fund, so ultimately I can run a business according to whatever the requirements. Planning of a new unit or expansions and existing unit, the thing is why we perform this type of demand long-term process of forecasting, because if certain new production, new machineries I want to set up, or else already I have existing machinery, so I can expand that kind of machinery, that is why I do this thing. Planning for long-term financial requirements, long-term way, financial way of requirements, I can perform according to that, because I can take according to the loan according to how I want to start up with my units. So if I'm starting with my production also, so according to this part of it, long-term financial requirements I can done. Last, manpower require, obviously if I go for the long-term process and I'm thinking about for the forecasting for the long-term way of it, so finally I need to hire the people according to that part of it, how you require, because currently I have a 5, now I'm thinking about 2-3 years more, forecasting for the 3 years, I'm prediction myself like for the 3 years more. So ultimately for the 3 years, 5 people cannot perform each and everything. So that is why here I need to hire the people. So these are the different type of sources where the forecasting it has been done for the short term and for the long term, because this makes a major impact, and according to this part only the thing is you can get a proper and accurate way of estimation of your forecasting way of measure, which where the thing is what your business will be running properly. So that is where this is also one part of your research methods way, where you can use this type of different techniques to start up with your business, and even you will be getting the proper way and accurate way of ideas to set up with your plans. Now, steps of forecasting, I have one more, that is a steps. Now, what are the steps whenever we do the forecasting? First, it is what? Identify the objectives. That is important. You need to see about the objectives. How I want to do, where I want to do, what are the major, why I am doing this thing, that objective should be there. Means a purpose should be built. Because if you have a purpose, whenever you start up with anything, so ultimately there should be a certain kind of purpose, because that only with the help of the purpose, finally the thing is what you will be getting an answer. Determining the nature of goods, obviously when you do the forecasting, so you have an objectives, it has been built. Next, it is what type of goods you are starting up, so finally you need to determine each and everything, you need to just see about each and everything. Select a proper method, that is important, you need to see about which are the proper method, and from this type of proper method which will be relevant for it. Last but not least, it is what interprets the results. Okay, once the thing is what your forecasting it has been done, now you need to analyze the result. You need to get an answer, you need to get a conclusion relating to whatever the whatever you got that kind of information. Finally the thing is you are interpreting answer. So with the help of an interpreting, finally the thing is what you can get certain kind of forecasting way of information which will be relevant for your business. Now here, I have a scope of forecasting. Scope, it is what are the importance of forecasting, why we do the forecasting, what are the different type of and which direction you can do the forecasting, period of a forecasting, certain particular period you can go for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. A level of forecasting, which kind of level you can go, either you can predict for the future event, and if you are predicting a future event, so what are different type of methods you are using. General purpose or a specific purpose of forecasting. Okay, what are the means if you are forecasting, so what are different type of purpose way where the thing is what you are forecasting your certain kind of whatever the information you require, either it is on general or a specific way, like for a certain particular way. Forecast of established or a new product, you're forecasting whatever you have been established currently right now, you are predicting what business it has been going right now, so that only you're forecasting for that way, or you're forecasting for any kind of new product. If you have started with biscuit, now you want to start with the chocolates, so ultimately you're not forecasting for a current biscuit, but the thing is you're forecasting for the new product that is called a Cadbury. So you are having that kind of attachment. Types of commodities for which the forecasting to be undertaken, that is important. What are the commodities are being used, means if you are using certain kind of way of different products to forecast, and finally you are using that kind of forecasting methods to develop with the help of that kind of business. So that is why you are going with the help of that kind of forecasting method. Miscellaneous factors to be included or not, that is also been seen. Okay, including or if it has been not including, that has been also been seen, because you have a major impact relating to whenever you do the forecasting. So that is why your miscellaneous way, how you are having more attachment relating to that particular way of product, and where you will be getting a more requirements to whatever the informations you require. So that part of it you have a major impact relating to this part of forecasting way of method. So you have this kind of different type of scope relating to this. Now, the period of forecasting already you can go whenever you want to, you are doing a forecasting, you can go with the help of 3 different steps: short term, medium term and long term. Now what are short term? Short term it refers for the period up to the 3 months. This is only goes for the 3 months. Then afterwards, medium term, that factors goes to 3 months to 1 year. It goes to 3 to 1. Now this is only for the 3 months. Year, from 3 months to 1 year it can go. If I'm going for the long term, I can go to above than 1 year. 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, depend upon the how I want to predict. Seasonal factors are been ingredients of the short run for forecasting. Now your seasonal factors, because short term it is what I'll just go according to the season wise, whatever the requirements are been there. So according to that part only requirement, season wise I can see now for this seasonal I can sell this goods. So ultimately my goods will be going this way. If this season it has been there, so if I sell this goods, so festive season are there. So according to that part of it, whatever I sell, so now in different festive I start with a certain other product, so that also I can do it. So this is also one type of seasonal factors, ingredients of a short run way, where the thing is what you can forecast it. It's forecast by the trend. Now medium, it is what you can, like according to the trend you're going, because according to the requirement you're going, the people way of preferring, the people way of buying, how they like, how they don't like, so they go according to the trend. And last but not least, it is what a statistic. If I'm going for the long term, statistical techniques are used to judge the long run forecasting. Now here, this is one type of statistical way of tools. Now for the, if I'm having the long term way of process, so I have a statistical way of techniques, and from this type of techniques finally I can go for the long term process, because this term it is a long term process where your product, it has been expanding more and more, and you're thinking about the future that it will be there into the certain way of position. So these are the three different types of period of forecasting, where you can, even whenever you are thinking about it, to forecast, and because according to this only you can estimate the demand. So you can go according to three different types of requirements, that is called the short term, medium term and long term, because according to this only you will be getting a clear and appropriated idea to start up and run with your business. Now, the level of forecasting, which are the different types of level where you can do the forecasting. You have a macro level, okay, industrial demand, firm demand and product line demand. Now already you have been seen about it into the last session, different type of forecasting. Now here, which level you will be doing a forecasting, because whenever you are thinking about the to estimate certain kind of amount, or you want to think about it something, so ultimately you can demand forecast according to the requirements how you require. Macroeconomical forecasting, that is concerned with the business condition all over the world. Now when I'm saying with the help of, first I can go with the help of forecasting. When I'm doing about it, what kind of level I need to go? First I need to see with the help of macroeconomic, means where I'm seeing the standard of the living of the standard of the living of the world, and how the thing is they start up their business and how they perform that thing. So business concern, how they are been there. So that all towards over the world I need to check and I need to rectify according to how they are, how the current business they are running and how it is going on. Industrial way of demand, give the indications to the firm regarding directions in which the whole industries will be moving. Now your industrial way of demand, here you will be checking with the help of industries, because how industries are been running. So according to the industries, the thing is what, how the requirements are been there with the help of people, and according to that part of it, how the market it has been moving, how they have the condition, how they have the contact relating with the people. So this all the things what it is being checked here when into the moving process. Firm demand forecasting, a big firm will do forecasting of its own product independent of the rest of the firm. Now your firm demand, if the firm is having certain new requirements or certain new demand related to this thing, certain particular way, so they can go with the help of this type of demand forecasting way of firm. Firm demand forecasting, a big firm will do forecasting to its own product independently of the rest of the firm. Now here it is the same. A big firm it has been there, they only forecast their product, and finally the thing is they only set certain kind of level of forecasting to the other business also. So ultimately the people will be seeing according to that way, and finally they perform that kind of requirement. Product line forecasting, to decide whether the product should have the priorities. Now already we have been seen about forecasting into the last session, where we have been seen about the PLC. PLC, it is what a product life cycle, where you have been seeing like product development till the end of decline, where you can see with the help of graph, finally when the product starts, their new product it has been introduced. So your first introduction, then afterwards you have a growth, maturity, and finally the thing is went to the decline. So this is also one type of it. Here you are showing the decide whether the product should have the priorities. Here you are checking out the priorities, whether it is belonging to that particular region or not. So that is also being seen when related with the product life forecasting. So these are the different where you can go with the help of level of forecasting method, and with the help of the method, finally the thing is what, you will be getting the requirements according to how you require it. Now, I have one more. There is a general and specific purpose, what we have been seen right now. Okay, the levels have been continued. General and specific purpose, general forecasting is broken into the specific forecasting. This is the thing, where general forecasting means a normal common forecasting. Now the thing is what, it has been break into the single way of particular specific way of forecasting, where you are seeing for the individual way. Forecast of estimation of a new product. For establishing past sales trend and competitive conditions are being used. Now here forecasting for the new product or existing product or any of the new product related information, it has been there. So this is also one type of it, where you can see how competition it has been performed, when if new goods are introduced or if the current goods are already existed. So what are types of requirements they require, or what are types of attachment it has been required, that is being seen. Types of commodities, if I'm using the word here commodities, what is the commodities will be there? Capital goods, consumer durable and non-durable goods. This will be considered when we are performing with the help of types of commodities. Miscellaneous factors, if it has been included or excluded relating to this, so whether you need to see about it, where I'm saying about it, including of sociological and psychological factors. Here, I'm even checking the people preference, their behaviors, and according to that part of requirement only, I'm matching the requirement. Does it has been matching or not? So that after seeing each and everything, finally the thing is what I'm getting that part of demanded. I can forecast according to this part of particular way of how I required the requirements. Now here, broadly there are two different methods of estimation, simple and statistical method. Okay, these are the two different types of method, and with the help of these two different types of methods only the thing is the estimation it has been done. What we have been seeing right now, when we have learned about so much of different forecasting methods, but here if I want to check about the demand forecasting, demand estimation also, if I want to check, I can go with the help of two different type of method, where the thing is what I can estimate it according to that part of requirement. Simple, it is what a simple and common way of method, what you can estimate according to the whatever you're thinking about, like opinion or taking survey, finally you can get those information. But when I'm going with the help of statistical method of estimation, statistical way, where it is I have seen here ignometrical analyzing, means here I'm using certain statistical or mathematical tools, and with the help of this type of tools, finally the thing is what I am estimating, putting certain formulas, having certain formulas, and that part of formulas, finally the thing is what I can estimate whatever the requirements are there. So here I have a two different type of estimation process, simple, and second it is what a statistical way of method. Now, the steps for demand estimation. Now, whenever you, what are the steps for demand estimation? Whenever you do the steps, whenever you are doing the demand estimation, so what are the steps? If you are, if you want to estimate the demand, so finally, what are the steps you need to take? First, statement of the theory or an hypothesis. Obviously, it is based on the assumption or certain kind of theory what you have been accepted. So, your first, whenever you are estimating as any kind of requirement, so first you need to see about the statement of a theory or a hypothesis. That is important. What are the particular way of theory, and second part, what will be your hypothesis, because based on the assumption, based on certain kind of experiments, you need to take care. More model specification, that is important. What are different types of models what you have accepted, because according to that part only model, finally you need to specify what are the requirements and how the requirements will be fulfilled. Data collection, obviously that is important, because these are also one type of steps when you're doing an estimation. You need to collect those data, because which data will be relevant and which will be important for that particular way of business, so that also being seen. Estimation of a parameters, obviously here also one point you can see it about it, how you are doing an estimation of an parameters. You need to calculate about it, what are the informations you got, finally what are the calculation measurements you have been done. So according to that part of it, you can estimate your whatever the requirements and how the demands it is being seen. Checking the goodness of the feed, that is important. What are the goodness, what are the proper way of benefits, where you are getting a proper way of requirements to that part of it. Hypothesis testing, you will be doing out whenever you are doing this type of demand estimation. It is based on hypothesis test, that is null and alternative, both are there. Whichever you can, from where you can get an accurate information, and according to this part of it, finally you can start up with your business. So hypothesis test, it has been done. Once your hypothesis test it has been done, you need to forecast according to the whatever you have been estimated, whatever the demand, whatever the requirements have been got. So finally you need to forecast for, either you can go for the short term, medium term, and the long term. From this three part of forecasting, finally you can go whichever you require, whichever you need. So finally you can go according to that part of requirement. So with the help of this different type of step, finally you need to look after into the different particular way of region, which will be more relevant for your business. Now, data collection, here we have used the word data collection. What is data collection? The stage can be only performed after a demand model has been specified. Otherwise, it is not known for which variables we have to collect the data. Now, here the thing is, if when I'm using the word data collection, it is what it is not like that get whatever data you require. Here the data collection will be depend upon the variable, means which particular way where you require. Now here you see the stage can be only performed after demanding model has been specified. Otherwise it is not for which variables has to be collected the data. So here it is what which variables you are performing, and according to that part of only variable, finally the thing is what you need to accept those information which will be relevant for your business. What are types of data? Time series data, cross selection data, and pooled data. These are the different way of data where this type of different way of data you can collect the information which will be accurate for the business, and then afterwards according to that part of only business, the thing is what you can set up certain kind of new ideas and you can develop certain kind of new ideas according to the whatever the data it has been collected. Because if your data has been accurately it has been collected, so it is based on which the thing is what which will be after this you can interpret the data which will be more relevant for your business. So that is why we are using these three different types of data, that is time series data. According to the numbering wise you're going with the help of data, and according to requirements, cross selection data, okay, from where you can just cross check those data. Finally from this you can get pooled data where you went through and finally you catch those data. From that way you just went through those information from which the thing is which has been used for the business. So that is why it is based on the demand model. What are the requirements, and according to that part of requirement, finally the thing is you can estimate the information according to that part of analyzation. Now, methods of estimating the current demand. What are the different type of methods of estimating the current demand? If you want to see about the current demand, like how the people are preferring more and more that particular way of goods. So that is why here you have a different way of methods of estimating that particular way of demand. Classification of consumer in the different market segments. Okay, here you need to classify the classification of consumer in the different market segments. Okay, here you need to classify the consumer also and which type of particular market segments the people are been there, because if you want to check the current way. So here first classification of consumer in the different market segments. So you have a different market segments and here you need to classify the consumer. Consumption pattern, okay, a total population of consumer in each segment, consumption, how the people are consuming. So in each and every segment, what are the consumers are, then how the consumers are being attached to each particular way, because according to that part of population you need to calculate. Demand that is met through imports, okay, through imports, if you are doing certain kind of imports relating to particular way of goods. So what are way of demand, what are way of requirement, that has been seen. Any unsatisfied demand, if even you need to check about if there is any kind of unsatisfied demand where requirements is just been not there, where the people are not having that kind of way of attraction relating to particular way of demand relating to this. So like unsatisfied way where the people are not having that part of requirements to this. So these are the particular way of information, and from this particular way of information you can start up with your business according to the requirements how you require. So that is why according to this part of it you can get proper way in estimation of a current demand way of process which will be more relevant for your business to start up with it and to get those information through market segments also. And from this market segment finally the thing is what you will be getting a proper way of consumption way of process. Now again the thing is what if there are certain methods of estimation demand whenever you are doing estimation. So finally you can go with the consumer survey, okay, like you can have a connection with the consumer. Finally with the help of this you can get the information. So with this you will be knowing about it, the demand, you will be knowing about how the people are having that kind of, what kind of particular product the people are consuming. So according to this how the demands have been, and according to you can estimate the product. Then next it is what market experiments. You will be also checking about the market experiments also, like giving certain new goods and certain requirements to so how they are having that part of attachment. Last, statistical methods. Okay, what are the different type of statistical methods are being used, like bar diagram or a graph, any histogram or a pie diagram if you're using about it to calculate certain kind of region. So these are the different type of methods where you can estimate the demand, and which for this, the thing is what for this you can use for the business purpose for the longer period of time. So that is which creates a major impact relating to this particular way of demand consumption. Now here it is what we'll be seeing internally, more different things like market, what are the different methods of estimation of demand. First we have been seen about the consumer survey. What are consumer survey? When you do seeking information through questionnaires, interviews, etc. Now here if you want to see the demand, if you are estimating a demand, you have a first method that is called a consumer survey method. Now into this what you can do, you can ask certain questionnaires or certain interviews, you can do it, and through which you can have the connect with the consumer, you can ask certain informations to them, and from this part of it finally you can seek those information. Asking information about their consumption behaviors, to their buying habits and motive, etc. And when you're asking to the certain questions, so on that time consumption behavior, what are the thinking about particular product when the goods are being like they are, when they are having, when they are using that kind of particular book, then when they are doing consuming that kind of goods. So ultimately what are the behaviors, what are the buying concepts, what are the habits, what are the motives relating to why they buy this thing, why they means each and every people are there, their preference, their wants, needs, perceptions are different. So that is why the thing is, this is one type of method where the thing is what you can estimate the demand. So first it is what a consumer survey method. Okay, now I have one more that is called an advantages and disadvantages of consumer survey. When you do this type of it, so finally what are the problems you face, and second part, what are the benefits you get. Now when you get a benefit, what are types of benefits you get to get those demand estimation through consumer survey. They give up-to-date information about the current market scenario, obviously what is going into the markets and what is the going market scenario, how the people are buying out. So finally the thing is what they'll be getting an accurate information for the business. So that is why this proper and aggregate way of information, where the thing is what you will be getting an accurate data for your information. Much useful information can be obtained that would be difficult to uncover in other way. For example, if the consumer are ignored to the relevant price of the different brand, it may be concluded that they are not sensitive to price changes. This can be explored by the firm through the best possible interest. Now here it is what much useful information can be obtained through which the difficult uncovered in other way. Now here if you are having connection with the consumer, now here when you are doing a survey through the consumer, so here it is what some questions where you cannot get the answer like that. It's very difficult to get those answers. So better it is if you have this kind of connection, so finally you get a proper and accurate answer for your business. So that is why this is also one type of method, and this is also one type of survey where the thing is what you will be getting an accurate information which will be relevant for your proper way of business. When I'm saying disadvantages relating to this part of it's a validity. Okay, certain validity will be there, certain value relating to this particular way. Reliability, certain kind of reliable will be there, because whenever you are performing that part of service, so you are reliable on that particular way, like to perform that only. Sample buyers, the certain period of time you have certain kind of buyers whenever you get certain part of samples, because you are not aware with when you do the survey, you have certain problems also where you face the details are not valid, you are not getting accurate information. Sometimes some buyers are being have like whatever the samples you get, so according to that part of it you get a certain kind of buyers. So you have a certain benefits also, certain disadvantages also when you are performing with the help of this consumer survey related method of demand estimation. Now, market experiments. Okay, here the consumer are studying in the artificial environment. Now here, when they market experiments, it is what when they are doing about it. Now here, if they want a demand estimation, if they want to check, so here they will be checking with the help of the consumer. They study their consumer and the artificial environment, what is there into the market, and finally how that part of attractions and how that part of connection will be there towards the environment. Laboratory experiments or consumer clinics are used to test the consumer reactions to changes in the variable in the demand function in control environment. Okay, certain laboratory experiments that has been done, or consumer clinics are used, certain that part of it, because they want to, if they want to see about the consumer reaction, and also ultimately they have a different types of where they can use the test consumer reaction if they want to see about the consumer reaction. So either they can put a certain laboratory experiments where they can do it, or else for the consumer clinic way where they can go and finally they have that kind of attachments relating to consumer. Finally from this they get a certain information. Needs to be careful needs to be careful in such experiments, as the knowledge of being in the artificial environments can be affect the consumer behavior. Now when you do this type of experiments, so ultimately this type of experiments if you do, you have a benefit, but finally there are certain problems also, because on that time sometimes what it happens, if we prefer this type of so ultimately the thing is the consumer behaviors and wants, it might be changed, or it might be create certain kind of problems. So that is why the thing is what this type of it, you need to have a careful way of you need to take a care when you're performing this type of market experiments also, because doing test laboratory experiments in consumer clinic, if you go that part of it, finally your consumer behavior, you won't be getting an accurate way of behavior. So because if you're not getting a finally estimation when you do, so ultimately that creates a problem relating to this, because you need to take a care. You can take a help of it, but if you are taking more interest relating to that particular way of test, so finally it creates a certain kind of bias relating to whenever you're performing that part of requirements. So that is why we don't perform that part of it, because you need to control the environment, and according to that part of only the thing is what you can plan your way of market experiments. I have one more method. Okay, sorry, before going to one more method, I will just go with the help of advantages and disadvantages. Advantages is what direct observation of a consumer taken place rather than sometimes of hypothesis theoretical model. Now you are not having either the best way, it is what market experiments, if you do directly, you have a connection with the consumer and even to the buyers. So ultimately the thing is that kind of way of attractions where you will be seeing and how they behave, how they want, how they think about it. So here you get a direct connection with the people. But so better it is either going to theoretical based on hypothesis test, I mean putting a certain assumption and reading out those books. So you won't be getting an accurate information. From this you will be getting an accurate information. Disadvantages, it is what there is a less control in their case and a greater cost. Furthermore, some customers who lost at this stage may be difficult to recover. Now, sometimes what it happens, if you are having no control, if you are not having much control relating to this particular way, so ultimately you can lose your consumer also. So that is why it becomes and after once you lose, so finally it becomes very difficult to recover this consumer also and their wants. Experiment needs to be long lasting in order to reveal the proper result. Now here what it happens, when you are doing an experiment, it is not like that you do the sum and you do the half of it and finally you just wind it up on that time. So here whenever you are doing an experiment, you need to take care relating to it. It goes for the long lasting process and your proper way of aggregate way of result, which will be getting to whenever the experiments it has been conducted, because then only you will be getting an accurate information. Now, I have one type of method that is called a statistical method, and with the help of this statistical way of method, you can do with the help of an estimation. You can start up with that part of also estimation, which will be relevant for your business. Now, there are various quantitative methods to find the exact relationship between the dependent variable and independent variable. Obviously, now here we won't be seeing a qualitative, we'll be seeing a quantitative, because this is based on demand estimations and demand forecasting. It is totally based on the quantitative methods where you're using a statistical tool, and from this statistical tools only the thing is you will be getting a relevant answer. Now already it has been said, when we are checking the quantitative way of method, okay, so here it is exactly depend on two variables. Okay, one variables will be dependent, okay, and other will be an independent, and from independent the thing is other is dependent on it. These two variables. The most common method is regression analysis. Now here, if you are going with the help of this type of statistical method, so finally you can use a regression type of method, regression type of analyzing of certain particular way of method. So here I have, for this analyzation, I have a different formulas. If already we have been seen previously also, regression you have a two types, and from this two type finally you can, what you can do, you can get certain kind of information through formulas. Either you can go with the simple and either you can go for the multiple. Simple may be only with the help of one type of variable, but when it is multiple, so ultimately it will be two or more variables which has been connected, and finally you get an answer. I have a formula here. When I am going with a simple regression, y is equal to a plus bx. Okay, this is a formula. When I'm going with the multiple regression, it is called a y is equal to a plus bx1, okay, plus c. Now here I have to code the a plus bx1 plus cx2 plus dx3 plus, and I have kept dot because this is what multiple where I've said two or more variables where it will be there. Now here only simple variable there is only one, okay, and from one only it has been connected with the help of others. So find this only will be getting one or two variable will be there. But here multiple will be two or more variables. Now these are the variables where I'm going with the help of this bx1, cx2 and dx3, and finally the thing is I have one variable and one, and ultimately with the help of, and I'm just totaling out each variable, finally I'll be getting a y. Here when it has been simple, it's the Bhatt-Vietria regression, it is y is equal to a plus bx. So finally the thing is whatever the values will be there, so ultimately I'll be calculating, I'll be getting y values. But that is only for the single regression. But I'll go for the multiple way, so y is equal to whatever the variables it has been there. So variable, whatever the amount it has been there, I'll total it out, finally I'll be getting a y variable. But that only for my multiple regions. So this is also one type of method where you can get a proper way of estimation of a demand. Now, limitations, what are the problems you face when you perform this type of requirements? They require a lot of data in order to perform. Obviously, YX you have already seen, CX2, CX3, CX4. So what are the variables are this? Ultimately, the thing is whatever the information you have, you require a proper way of information, because according to that part of information you can run. They necessitate a large amount of computation. Now here, here the thing is what, it is an important and a large way of amount related calculations you will be doing out, because here it is a necessity, you need to do it, this part of it, because then only the thing is what, if you do an accurate and if you compute more and more, finally then only you will be getting an aggregate information. Because if you don't do proper way of computation, you won't be getting a proper way of information. So that is why these are the problems what you face when you perform this type of statistical way of method. It is what the data should be there into the order according to whatever the performance you will be doing, and second part it is what they necessitate a large amount of computation. Now here computation is large, so according to that part of it you require more and more interest relating to that particular way, then only you will be getting an aggregate and appropriated information. Now, I have one more, that is a linear regression OLS method. Okay, you will be seeing so much of different type of statistical method which will be relevant for your business. Applications when our model employed a linear relationship between X and Y. Now here, when you are doing a linear regression, you have a two-way of axis and two-way where the thing is what you can have the relationship with where it will be meeting, X-axis and Y-axis. Now, finding a line y is equals to a plus bx, which minimize sum of the square error, that is y is to 1 minus yi sub bracket 2. Find a and b by partial differentials. Now this is one type of sums, and from this type of sum, because here I am not given a formula here, because this is here the thing is what it has been said, when I am using with the help of regression method, I have a two x-axis and y-axis, and from this x-axis and y-axis finally the thing is what, I need to minimize the information relating to whatever the variables I got, and from this variable finally I need to calculate with the help of putting this type of formulas, because from that only I will be getting an information which will be relevant for my business. Now, got goodness of fits, okay, which fits proper way where I will be getting a proper way of information. Regression is the type of relationship, okay, regression it is what the type of relation, and correlation it is what a strength of a relationship means. Regression is one type of relationship where x-axis and y-axis means you have a variable, and next this from this variable which make a strength to develop the certain type of this sort of relation which will be correlating to each other. And alternatives to visualize the inspection. Now here it is what you need to visualize the inspection, whatever the variables, whatever you got. So finally you need to have a visualization according to requirement. Measured it is what correlation, coefficient of determination. This is also one type of formula, and from this type of formula, when I'm using correlation coefficient, you will be using an R. When I'm using coefficient of a determination, it is what R2, and from this two type of requirement, finally the thing is what you can start up with the help of sums. Now you're the same, okay, what we have been learned right now. So again we'll just move into the certain concept. Correlation coefficient. What is correlation coefficient? Currently only what we have been seeing are measures the degree of linear correlation. Small correlation may imply weak linear but a strong non-linear relationship. Hence, visual inspection is also important. Now, here it is what measures the degree of linear correlation. Now, here, whenever you are doing a calculation, you need to measure each and every degree, and according to the degree, how the thing is, the requirements will be more, how the performance will be more, how it will be interrelated with each other, the linear way, how the line will be there. So, ultimately, the thing is what will perform according to the bar diagram, and according to this part of it, finally the two variables are being seen. So that part of it will be correlated. Do not talk about the questions. That is, questions may be revealed, circular, endorsed, or third party. Hence, correlations cannot tell us how good a model is. Now, only performing with the help of only correlation way, the thing is what you won't be getting a accurate model which will be relevant for the business. So that is why you need to go into the much deeper way and proper way where the thing is what you will be getting a proper way of coefficient related variables. See, I have said to you, I will be giving you one type of formula. So with the help of this type of formula, whenever you are doing correlation coefficient, so whenever you are calculating out, here you need to go with the help of this formula. Need to take care whenever if you have an examination, if you have a sum, so finally using this type of formula, you can find a correlation coefficient. R varies from 0 to 1. Now here it is whatever the numbering, like whenever you will be starting with any kind of sum, so into the sums you will be getting R varies from 0 to 1. Either you can get 1 or either you can take a 0, whichever will be there from, but it will be starting from 0 to 1. So whichever the number will be there. A higher value of R implies that the points are very closely scattered around the regression line. If R value is high, now, if the R value is high, so finally the thing is what the number, and finally each and everything will be scattered, and according to this part of it, you will be getting a proper and aggregate information relating to the regression way of different type of method, which will be more relevant to your business to start up and to set up with an important way of requirements, how you require for the, and from this only the thing is the coefficient can be developed, and according to that part of only requirement, the thing is the business can be set up to your whatever the requirements, how it is been there. So this is the sums what you can use because with the help of this type of only formulas, the thing is what you can start, you will be getting an internal depth of forecasting with for your future, and even you can estimate your requirements also. Now, when I'm telling about the proportion of R2 says about the proportion of total variables in the dependent variable that is explained by the relationship with the independent variable. Now, here the thing is dependent variable which is depend upon the independent variable. So, they both are connected together, and finally the thing is you get a total variation relating to the calculation that is called a coefficient of determination, which has been stands for R upon 2. And from this type of it, finally you will be getting an accurate variable which you can use for the calculation purpose. See here you can even see about it whatever we have been learned right now, and whatever the this calculation form what we have been learned, so you can see about it. So from this part of it, finally you will be getting this is a bar graph, and from this type of graph, finally the thing is what you can see the linear parallel line, and then after regression line which has been connected, finally you have a midpoint, you can see it on the U and D point of it. So finally, with the help of that part of it, finally you will be getting a proper way of coefficient related way of calculations, and from this part of it you can develop a proper way of equations which will be relevant to calculate a proper way of estimations. So this is also one type of graph which has been there. Now, coefficient of determination, that is R2. Again, I have a certain formula. TD is TD, that is total deviation. ED is what? Explained deviation. UD it is unexplained deviation. Now, this is also one type of formula, and from this type of formula, you can start with the coefficient of determination of R upon 2. Then afterwards, see this type of formula it has been there, okay. So, and with the help of this type of formulas only you need to use, and finally you can start get proper way of coefficient relating to your business. Again, I have a certain words. Now see, R2 also varies from 0 to 1. Whenever you are starting with R2, any kind of coefficient, whenever it has been started, and if you are starting with a sum, the numbering, the variable will be starting from 0 to 1. Lower R2 values imply that a model is not a good fit. Perhaps a power regression model is needed. We are missing the important variable. Look at the multivariable regression. R2 is preferred to the correlation coefficient. Whenever you are performing this type of method, whenever you want to get that part of coefficient of, when you want to get a coefficient relating to the correlation method which are being interrelated with each other, so better you prefer an R2 way of model where you can see a previously where you can go, where you got about the equation, and from that type of equation only you can start up with the proper way of calculation, because from this it will be preferred to get a proper way of coefficient relating to the R2. Now I have one more, power regression. Okay, this is also one type of method where you can use it. Mathematical form y is equal to axb. Cannot directly use OLS method, means what method what we have been seeing previously, that method you cannot use. However, here the thing is what, by ignoring error terms and taking logarithm, we get a linear model. Now here if you want to get a linear model, you need to use a logarithm method, because here that previous one method you cannot use. Here if you want to start up, so finally you can use a logarithm method to get the power regression way of it. And with the help of using this log y is equal to log a plus b into log x, and this only method what you are using about it, this only calculation what you will be using, because this only you will be getting an accurate information, proper regression answer also. So whatever we are learning about it is certain kind of technical point of it, because with the help of this technical point of it only, the thing is what you will be getting an accurate informations to go into the business. Because what we have till the time what we have learned the research, it was just a basic one, but here the thing is what you are learning a technical way, because the thing is what here you want the information, the demand, you want to estimate the demand. So if you want to estimate the demand, if you want to get a certain information which is relevant for your business, you need to go with the certain formulas, because this quantitative way of techniques only finally you will be getting a formulas which will be relevant for your business also, and where you will be getting accurate information by calculating a statistical methods. So that is why your statistical mathematical terms, there are so much of it, certain formulas are there which will be relevant for a business. This is a very long term process when you are doing an estimation, or a short term process you are doing an estimation. So this type of it, the calculation it has been done where you will be getting an aggregate information for your business, and from this you can start up with your estimating the demand, and according to this you can plan your capital also. So that is why we perform this type of system. We'll go ahead with the next point also. Now, significance testing, this is also one type of testing, that is t-test and f-test. This is also one type it has been done, because these are the two different type of test which will be developed for the business, and from this part of it which will be relevant for it. Now see, t-test, test of significance of a particular variable. Now here the thing is what, a particular way of variable. T-test, it is what, a testing or specification of a particular way of variable. If you want to get a test, so here what you need to do, T states is equal to established estimating the coefficient upon standard error, rules of a thumb from a 95% confident interval greater than 2, implied that the independent variable truly impact the dependent variable, specifically used to multivariate regression. Okay, this is the test which is usually done for the independent variable, where mostly it has been having to the connected with this thing. And finally, with the help of this T type of test, finally the thing is what you can perform this type of testification, and from this finally you get a amount. So you're estimating the coefficient upon standard error. Now here, whenever you're doing T statements, whatever you have been estimated, the coefficient, whatever the equations you have been tested, so according to that standard error, if you have any kind of error relating to that part of it, so that part of it you can take it. And finally, with the help of this, the rules of thumb for 95% confidence interval greater than 2 implies that kind of independent variable truly impact the demand dependent variable. So these are the different type of impact where you can done, and from this different type of impact, finally the thing is what you will be getting T test related information. F test check if the variable is X explaining a significant amount of variable into Y. Now here F test when you are doing, so from X only the thing is what you will be getting proper way of relation which is directly connected with X, and from this part of only relationship the thing is what you are getting an accurate information for your business. So these are also two type of tests which you can do for the business. So these are the significance of doing these two different type of tests. Now here I have given one type of examples you can take it. A pizza dimension means here if I want to estimate the demand for the pizza by the college student, if I'm seeing about it the college students are preferring pizza more. So here selecting the variable for the model that you believe are. Now here what are the models I'll be accepting, relevant, and from which data can be found. Now here two things I'll be saying, the relevant and from which, okay, from where I can get those data. These two information, these two variables are there, and from these two variables I need to see about where into college by college students how many people are preferring the pizza, and how many the thing is they are preferring the demand more, I mean how they prefer more. So according to this we can estimate the demand also. Now here see, we'll go ahead with the next. Now average number of pizza slice consumed per month by the student was Y. Now this is what average month. Average months they have been checked about it, like students, like per month they have been checked about the students, that the people that the students are pizza slice are consuming by students, that is called a Y. For example, they have been to average selling pricing of the pizza slice was X1. Now average selling price, okay, for the pizza seller was this much. Annual course fees minus proxy for the student's income, that is X2. Now here you need to just minus it out whatever the amount it has been there, annual course fees, whatever the fees will be there, minus proxy of the student's income. Sometimes what it happens, like students are not coming also according to that way, so it has been calculated X2. Average price of the soft drinks minus complementary products X3. Obviously this also should be calculated to this thing whenever you're want to get the estimation. So the average price of the soft drinks, okay, what will be the average price, and if you're having certain complementary product relating to that thing. Location of a campus, you can even see about the location of the campus minus proxy of availability of substitutes, that is X4. Okay, I have given one more. That is 1 for a city campus, O for a outskirts. Okay, now these are the different. If outskirts mean the same, if the people are coming from outward, and some people are from the city campus only, from this part of it. So this have been calculated, that it is being given for the X4. Okay, now after measuring all this X1, X2, X3, X4, now here you can see about it. Now you are doing a calculation. You want to do an estimation. So how you do an estimation? Y is equal to A. Now here you will be seeing out the method where it has been here. There are only not only for the one variable. There are two or more variables are there. So that is why here will be going with the help of second type of equations. Now here you can say Y is equal to A plus B 1 x1 plus B2 x2 plus B3 x3 and 4. This was a 4 different type of dimension was there. Okay, previously we'll see once. Here you can say x1, x2 and x3. Okay, Y is equal to 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, and finally we have one type of formula also here. Okay, formula also we have in here A plus B1, B2, B3, 4. Okay, rules or result of linear regression based on an actual data. The data will be based on the actual one. Y is equal to whatever the number. Now here, if A, already the words are given, certain numbers are given to it, minus whatever the numbers have been given to it, finally whatever the numbers. And finally, according to this part of it, you need to do the calculation. Then R2 you will be getting out according to this. Adjustment R2 and F with this. Standard error for Y estimation 1.60. The standard error of the coefficient are listed into the parenthetics, that is 1.64. So these are the rules and regulations. Certain formulas are being accepted, what we have been seeing right now. So that part of certain kind of PISA dimensions now you'll be getting, and according to this part of it, you can estimate the demand, how the people want, how the people needs, how they prefer, and according to that part of requirement, how they have more type of an achievement. Now, here even you need to check about the value of elasticity, the price and income, and if there is certain cross pricing elasticity. So already the value of estimation is the price this much, income this much, and cross price elasticity is this much. T-test that is D2 and D4 are not significant. R2 is equal to 0.7.7 means after calculating all this thing, finally the thing is what? This answer, this coefficient numbers, you got it. So which will be relevant for your business. And now the thing is you got to know the proper way of estimation. Now, here after getting out all the informations and now we'll be saying about the demand forecasting. We have already seen some forecasting measures also when we started with the help of this chapter. What are demand forecasting? Demand forecasting, it is what? Estimating or predicting for the future demand for the goods and services. Obviously, we have been seen previously where goods and services are consumed. So on that time, if you want to estimate for the future events, so that is why we do the demand forecasting. How the people will be consuming into the future. Whatever the product it has been running right now. Near its true values higher in an accuracy. Okay, here the higher values in accuracy, how it has been calculated, so that has been measured. Active and passive forecast that has been done. Okay, activity like current way and the past, both it has been calculated. Short term, long term, and medium term. Obviously, whenever the forecasting it has been done into the three types: short term, long term, and medium term. Capacity of utilization, capacity of expansions, and trade cycle, that has been also been checked here. Okay, because when you do the demand, when you forecast for your demand, so ultimately this all utilization, what are the people requirements, how they utilize, expansion, how the business will be vast more, how they will be expand more. Trade cycle will be also be there. What are the trade cycle, how they perform, like what we have been said that PLC or a product life cycle, so that is the business, how they have been set up. Different forecasting needs needed to be different condition market industry. Obviously this has been also been checked here. If you have a different conditions are being there, if markets are different, if the industries are different, so how do you behave, how you perform each and everything, so that has been checked here. Approach to the forecasting by judgment, experiment, relation, casual, time series, and approach. Now usually forecasting it is based on judgment. Okay, you are based on judgment, like how you prefer, how you think about it. This is there. Experiment, it has been done, like experiment, how it has been done with the help of whatever your thoughts, whatever your beliefs are there. Relationships, how it has been there, casuals and time series and approach. So these are all different types of, and finally you can forecast. Now here I have even given a picture also. It's like economical forecasting. Here it has been means the standard where you are seeing each and everything, and finally you're predicting according to the future events, like going according to that part of requirements, how you require, and finally that part of requirement, finally you start up and set up with your business, and which will be for the long term process or a short term process or a medium term process. It is depend upon how you're predicting yourself when you're moving according to the requirements. Now you're saying requirements for the demand forecasting whenever you do this type of forecasting. So what are the things you need to just see it about it whenever you do the demanding? Elements related to the consumer. Obviously when you do the forecasting, if you are seeing about the demand, so to whom you will be seeing first with the help of consumer, because from there only you will be noting and you will be getting information relating to the consumer. Elements concern the supplier, obviously who are the suppliers have been there, who have been connected to this. Element concern the marketers or industries. It has been checked even who are the marketers and who are the industries relating to what type of requirements it has been, because demand here it has been calculated that part of it. or extrogenic elements like taxation, government policy, international economic climates, population, income, etc. These are all things are being even checked. Okay, exogenous elements, different type of elements are being checked, and from these different types of elements, finally the thing is what it has been checked. You're checking about, because when you're seeing about the demand, so your taxation, government certain policies, international economical climate, population, income, this all has been checked here. Estimating general condition, estimating total market demand, and then calculating the firm market shares, this has been checked. Okay, general condition, how they're performing, estimating the total market demands and calculating the firm market shares. Okay, this has been also been checked, like how the requirements will be there and how the attachments will be there relating to that particular things. Multiple methods of forecasting used depending upon suitability, accuracy, and other factors. Okay, multiple methods, if they have different types of methods of forecasting, and according to that part of whichever will be suitable and accurate for other factors related with other kind of information, that has been checked. Subjective method used when appropriate data is not available. Okay, if data is not properly available, so ultimately you can use certain subjective method. You can get those data information, and from that particular way of information you can get those data, and from this you can estimate your whatever the requirements are being there. So here it is what requirements, what are the purpose and what are the things when you do the demand forecasting, when you do it, when you're forecasting a demand. So ultimately what are the requirements you require? You require a consumer, you require a supplier, you require marketers, industries, certain, if you have extravagant elements like government policies, all people, you need to see how the international economical climates have been included, populations, how it has been there, incomes have been there, how they've been connected, how they have been that kind of it performing. How into the general way, if the general way of condition, how the peoples are preferring, market demand, how it has been there, how their attachments will be there. Each and every the thing is what that part of all requirements of market of forecasting for the demand, you can get it out, and according to that part of only requirements, you will be getting out then accurate information for your business. Now, you have a subjective methods depend on intuitions based on experience, intelligence, and judgment. Now, here I have used the word subjective method. Subjective method, either you can get those information from the intuitions or based on certain kind of experience, intelligence, and judgment. These are the three different where the thing is what the subjective methods are been more and more connected to that particular information as if you require. Experts' opinion, survey, consumer interview methods, and historical analogy method. Survey method. These are the different types of methods from where the thing is what you can get those information and which will be relevant from the business. And this from this only, because if you are having certain expertise who can give you certain kind of ideas which will be more relevant to your business. So that is why these are all opinions, and from this all opinion, finally the thing is what you'll be getting an information which has been properly, and according to this part of it, you can forecast your demand also. Using questionnaires with either completing, enumerating, or sample survey. Okay, this is also one type of method what you can use it, like using questionnaires with either completing, enumerating or sample survey. Okay, any kind of sample survey what you do, or any kind of certain enumerating certain kind of method, and from this type of method finally you are getting an accurate information for your business. Using consumer supplier, okay, using consumer supplier, employee or expert, that's called a Delphi method, where you can use a consumer, you can use a supplier, employee, and expertise for this kind of method, from which where you will be getting those information which is relevant for the business. Problem of survey method, if you have suffered from certain kind of survey methods also, so that kind of what are the problems you face, so that kind only which will be informations what you will be getting out, so at least that also you can take it less reliable and accurate due to the subjective, but give quick estimations and the cost saving. This is also one type of it, like quick estimations you get it, and quick way of how the informations which will be relevant for your business to get internally into the depth of the business, and cost saving where you can perform each and every goods related. So these are the different types of methods where the thing is what you will be getting an accurate information for the business to set up and to perform each and every rules and standard of it to where you can start up with your business. Okay, here you can even say, see, I used to work for a treasury department, but there is no future in the economical forecasting. Now here performing, now here it's just one type of chart what I've given here. So according to that part of it, what day it has been said. So these are the different types of method where you can forecast your demand, okay, through a certain way or subjective method also. It is not only where you can put certain kind of testing and laboratory tests and you are doing with the help of that type of it. You can even go with the help of subjective type of methods where through experience, through intelligence and through the expertise you can get those ideas which will be relevant for the business, and according to that part of business only what you can set up with the certain kind of requirements how you want. Okay, so this was there. History analogy method. This is also one type of method what you can use into certain part of demand forecasting method. History analogy, it is what purpose. History, it is what if you are already product are been existed, if you're setting up with a new product, so how you will having demand related, how you will forecast yourself. Forecast for a new product or a new market area. First, what you need to see about if you are starting with any kind of product, so ultimately you need to see about it that how you forecast if the new market, if you are placing a product into the new market or a new area, so how you forecast that thing, that to be a particular where the people will be having more contact with the related with that kind of product. Difficulty in finding similar condition. Obviously, here to get similar condition becomes very difficult to have that kind of attachment. Test marketing involves launching in the test area which can be regarding as a true sample of the total marketing. Okay, test marketing it has also been done here because with the help of this finally you'll be getting a two samples relating to the marketing, how the people are having more coordination, more relation with the help of this. Difficulties of cost, time, variation of market and imitations by the competitors. Okay, this is also been checked here. Difficulty of cost, time, variance of market and imitations by the competitions if you have that kind of attachments relating to the public, and from this at least what you can get a proper and equal way of variation relating to whatever the requirements. So these are the different one more method that is called a historical analogy method where you can find out the data, like you can just see it about it if you are starting with the new product. So how you will start the product, what forecasting you will be doing out, how you are performing each and every data, how you will collect each and every data and which will be relevant for your business also. So this has been also been checked. Even here cost, time, variation, if you are having certain part of it market, imitations you need to get it out because from this only how the requirements will be more attached to your business. This has been also been checked. Needs for forecasting. Okay, whenever you do the forecasting, what are the things you require? Long range strategy plan. Obviously long range strategy plans you require, because if you have a long range of strategy plan, because if you have a more changes relating in if you're thinking about more, so finally corporate objectives. What are the corporate objectives if you're demanding for the forecasting? Profit, market share, ROCA, strategy acquisition, international expansion, etc. So this will be the main impact on major planning and developing the strategies to this particular way of point for the long ranges for the forecasting way of method. Annual budgeting, that is operating plans, annual sales, revenue, profit. These are the different, even it has to be checked relating to the annual budgeting because finance is also main type of impact, because from this only you will be getting an accurate information because you need, whenever you are thinking about the forecasting, not even to the business, but even you need to see about the annual sales, revenue and profit. This has been checked. Regional annual sales plan, this has been seen. Regional and product specified target, like which are the specific targets where you will be having that kind of attachment, and regional way and the particular segments how you will be covering up. Sources and need for the planning. For this type of planning and to do this type of planning, you require HRM, okay, you require production, financing, marketing, etc. You require all mostly people to be involved into this particular way of forecasting way of it, because with the help of this all type of requirement, finally the thing is your needs will be complete, and according to that part of it, whatever you're thinking, whatever your product want to start up with it, so at least what that part of it, you can have that part of connection relating to that particular way of product. So that is why you can forecast yourself that way. Okay, this is one type of it. Now, controlling to the forecasting, you even need to see about what are the controlling measures, what are controlling measures to be forecasted. Control of forecasting is the process of comparison, evaluation, interpretations and auditing the performance of a firm against the objective and standard forecasting. Okay. Now, this is what controlling for the forecast, it is what whenever the process will be comparison, evaluation, interpretation, auditing performance of a firm against the objective and standard forecasting. Whenever it has been ultimately your objectives and your standard forecasting, it has been measured accurately and according to that part of an acquisition, finally the thing is what you're performing that part of requirements which will be developing for the business. We measure the inaccuracy in the forecasting in the term of percentage of forecasting inaccuracy. Now here the thing is what inaccuracy in the forecasting, you have a certain formula, percentage formula which has been calculated, and from with this part of calculation finally the thing is what your controlling measures are being done into the forecasting way of process. Okay, so we have end up with the help of this all the slides here. We'll just brush it out whatever the slides we went through right now. Okay, we was into the demand estimation. Okay, now while like we have winded up with the chapters, now finally the thing is we have just a few minutes of the revision. So at least what certain few minutes with the help of revision, at least you will be getting an accurate information. Now, today we have started, today first what we have completed into the last session, we have started with the sales forecasting and quantitative method. So into this, we have just, some points was remaining, that was an hypothesis. So that first we have covered up. What is an hypothesis? We have been seen about it, certain assumption, certain way of different type of new rules, new regulations was there, certain test was conducted on that time, and with the help of that type of assumption and experiment, finally you are getting a data. We have learned certain procedures also, certain way of formulations also what we have been learned, and with the help of that type of procedures and with the help of that type of formulas only the hypothesis tests are being done. You have two different types of method of an hypothesis, that is alternatives and null hypothesis. Alternative, it is what either you take a certain other new information, finally you perform that type of answer, and null hypothesis, it is what either it can be rejected or either it can be it can have a certain kind of new sources relating to this. So that is part of it. These are the two different type of it, that is alternative and null hypothesis, and from this type of hypothesis finally we are running with the help of that part of business. Once we have completed with the help of it, we have started with the demand estimation. Now the chapter name, it is what demand estimations and sales forecasting. Demand estimation, it is what now you are planning your finance, and you are planning according to your finance, that way that according to that part of finance you can start up with your business, you can run with your business by putting certain kind of statistical tools, certain kind of numerical, certain kind of mathematical formulas to this, and then afterwards you can start up with that part of business. So that is why we do the estimation. So into the research part, your estimation makes a major impact, because you're where you can do the survey through theoretically way and through tactically way, where you will be getting an information which will be relevant for your business. That is why we do this part of an estimation process. Now here first we have been seen today, we have been seen about the demand estimation. Okay, what was the demand estimation, how we do the demand estimation, we have learned the definition. This is one type of process of coming up with the new finance way of chapters, and according to that part of chapters finally you can start up with that part of adjusting the balance or adjusting that part of plans and developing certain kind of new strategies. This was the first part. Now next part, it is what when I'm saying about it, we have learned about the definition also, and with the help of the definitions you got a clear-cut idea about how firms, how markets are been running, how the process are been performing, how practically way the thing is what this type of purpose are being used. Then afterwards the thing is you can estimate your demand. We'll go ahead with the next point, so at least what I'll go according to that way. We have learned with the help of methods. Okay, previously only we went with the certain kind of methods, that was experimental method, survey method, and second it is what regression. These are the three different types of methods, and according to these three different types of method, finally we got an appropriate and accurate information relating to the requirement. You can either, if you are doing an estimation, finally the thing is what you can estimate according to the market experiments, where you can go with the actual and market stimulation, because these are the two different type of method, and from this what you can get an accurate information for your business. Okay, you can get accurate information to your business. survey of a consumer intention, okay, where if you want to get certain informations to the survey related mein. So census and samples means census where you have a group of the people, and finally from this you can calculate the consumer behavior, and if this not there, finally from this particular way you can calculate certain, aggregate certain 4 to 5 people to it, and finally you can get those consumer related way of behavior, you can get that way. And if this is not there, finally regression analysis is also being one part of it, where you can get those like your previously you're analyzing the data, your certain formula updated data, so that all data which you are updating here, and finally that type of aggregated way, finally you are getting that type of different type of sources of from where you can get those information which will be relevant for your business. We have learned this different advantages, disadvantages also internally to this. Okay, we have even learned the steps of regression analyzation. You have a different type of steps, because with the help of performing this type of steps, from specifying the variables till the end of interpretation, these are the different types of variables, and from these different types of variables, finally you are getting a more idea and more attachment towards the requirements how you require. I have one more. It is what demand forecasting, what we have been seeing right now. Okay, how the demands it is being seen. Now, demand forecasting, what we have been seeing about it, that after getting out those informations through estimation, finally the thing is what, according to that part of it, your past event and your present you are maxing, and finally the thing is what, you're getting the demand forecasting way of behavior. Okay, now you can see in each and every slides what we have been went through right now. It was past, we went through forecasting, purpose of forecasting, why we require the forecasting also, each and every data and each and every information which cover up your ideas, and from this covering up with that kind of ideas, you can forecast your demand according to the requirement. Here also you can see for the, here also we have been seen about currently right now, you can forecast either for the two short terms and long term, because these are the two different type of process which where you can start up and you can run with the business according to that requirement. So that is why we go with the help of these two, short terms and long term, and through this part of it we have a different functions relating to that particular way, because according to their functions you can run out with your plans and run out with your capital also. I have one more steps also we have went through. We have went through the scopes also we have went through. Okay, we went to the periods, and according to which type of periods you can go for the short term, medium term and the long term. These are the three